for it to appear. Okay. It says we're live. This is the most epic moment ever. I gotta wait for it to appear on the freaking YouTube, and it's not.
It's loading slowly.
And then mine's loading. Hello, everybody. Hello. Back like we never left, folks. Yeah, we're pretty bad. It's been about since October since we did a live stream, right, guys?
Absolutely. October of last year.
Yes, go us! And I think we need to give an intro because it's been so long. There's probably new viewers here, or there'll be new people watching this live stream. So for the record, I have been dubbed as hosting this one, apparently. I apparently volunteered. I'm like, I didn't volunteer.
Volunteered as tribute.
Uh-huh.
I have the screenshots to prove it.
So we are the main people that host the, well, there was supposed to be every month the end of live stream, but yeah, it was like a brief hiatus moment there was, and then it took forever for us to organize this one. But I'm Lita, who is one of the hosts here. Here is Naja, and we have Kat.
Hello.
So nice for all of us to be united again. Ah!
Reunited, and it feels so good. Sorry.
Good. I was in the song.
Can any of you, this is how disorganized we are. Can any of you guys like just tweet on the house Twitter that we're live? I don't have, can anybody do it? Just
I'm
like
not on my phone. And if I put it on my computer, it'll explode. So
did an OWLS tweet.
Can't.
On it.
Oh, you're on a cat? Oh, someone.
On it because I was gonna say because I retweeted it because I was like, "Yay, OWLS!" I thought it was Naja actually, but she.
I can't from my phone. my iPad's dead, so I can't do anything. Sorry.
But yeah, so somebody is tweeting from our OWLS bloggers account though. I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say it must be her because it's happening. I can see it.
Holy crap! This is so meta. It's like
oh yeah, everyone's a nice disorganization.
I'm thinking to myself, like we just stopped mid intro. Like, we got distracted.
No, they're like quoting us in real time. Whoever this person is awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so yeah, we're supposed to do intros.
Yes. So I guess I'll go branch off Lita's. So I'm Kat. You guys might know me from Grim Girl. You guys probably, Naja and I were just talking about this. You guys probably don't know me from our chats because I've been super absent in life. I'm normally we normally do this way more often. But I have to take a bit of the credit for the hiatus that we've gone on to. So in our defense of the hiatus, the reason for it is because I was pregnant. Yay!
You had a baby!
And I had a baby. And I was super sick throughout my pregnancy. And so then it got to a point where I was just like, I'm just throwing up. So then it got to a point where I was like, here's a baby. And I just had one. So then I was like, oh, well, I'm not doing anything because I'm just having this baby. And now the baby has gotten bigger. This is said baby. This baby has
it's so beautiful.
So we had the baby, which is exciting. But because of that, it's taken us a while to kind of get in taken me a while to kind of get back into like my groove of things. So we're on,
Munchkin.
This is our first time. And like
how many months is he now?
He's 4 months. He'll be 5 months on the 25th. And I was gonna say, even now,
he's got beautiful eyes.
Sleeping, and then Ember was asleep. I put down if for any of you guys who are new, you might not know, but I also have a 5-year-old. And so I put my 5-year-old down, Ember was down. Like I was like, let's start this live stream, and then I was like, and we're awake again because we're 4 months old and we don't really have a real sleep schedule. You're back in the thick of things. So yeah, so part of the reason why it's been so long is because of this. But look how adorable he is. It's totally worth it. Right? See, I was worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, so that's me. We're getting back into the groove of things, and hopefully we'll be able to do this much more often now that Ember is out in the world. Right? Yeah, you think so? See, okay.
Watch, we're gonna miss June. I can feel it.
Yeah. Auntie Naja.
Oh, true. Hey, little man. Okay. So I'm Naja. I go by Poke on WordPress. I run the blog Nice Job Breaking It Hero, which is currently coming off of a hiatus starting Monday.
Don't hold your breath, folks.
So I'm officially going to be off hiatus starting Monday. Yay! No. I like wonderful. But I was looking at my blog and I was like, dang, the last thing I really wrote was like back last year. Maybe I should write something. And then I wrote a post today and I was like, that felt really good. Let's try to do this more consistently.
Then, months later again.
Well, okay. In my defense, I have not been not writing. I write for Manga Tokyo. So I've been writing for them, but I've not been writing for my blog. So technically I'd never stopped writing. I just didn't write for my blog. And I haven't been playing any games either, so there are no reviews. So it's just kind of like, eh. But I just started playing Seven Scarlet. So, you know, depending on how I feel at the end of that, I might actually write a review. Who knows? Probably won't.
But you never know. Her. If you pressure her, it won't happen.
Don't ask me about it. I promise you, I will not write it if you ask me about it. I'm just like, no, fine. Screw it. I'm also, oh yeah, my bad. My title. I'm actually the PR head for OWLS. I make sure they don't, you know, this is YouTube. I have to like censor myself. I had to censor my thoughts. I make sure they don't club up my stuff. I make sure my Twitter runs fine. My Facebook runs great. The WordPress blog doesn't get too neglected. The YouTube doesn't implode. I make sure everything runs. And I oversee. I don't actually do that stuff. And I also am the first point of contact to all the new members. So a lot of you know my name. Because I'm like, hey, thanks for sending that response. My name is Naja. I'm the PR head. And I tell you about all the wonderful things about OWLS. And I, you know, do the intake for you guys, put you on the Google Drive and all the other fun bits we have. So yeah, and then I kind of drop off the face of the planet. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? And then you don't see me for months at a time because I'm not on the Twitter. I'm not on the Discord very often, except for recently because Lita forced me to. It was under duress. It was not by choice, just so you all know.
I know the magic of persuasion.
I had no choice. Okay, I had no choice. Which is why I have the app on my phone. You guys can see. I be on there sometimes.
Oh God, get on with it.
Hey. You are my minions, all right? You'll do what I say. And Kat happens to be our lovely president. Woot!
I feel like me and Cassis are like the shadow lords. Like you never really
It's been a while either, too.
Right? Like you guys never really hear from us until and like normally it's just like we just lurk from the shadows. So if you guys if you guys are new to OWLS, then you might not know that Cassis from Otaku Gamer Zone is our vice president, and me and him just like lurk in the shadows. of chat, and every once in a while we pop in.
Yeah, the dude never appears. He comes in and check on things.
Every 6 months. He comes every 6 months. Like clockwork.
Yeah, we pop in and we're like, hey guys, you guys still staying what you're supposed to. Like literally the last thing I probably came in on is like my things right now is I'm figuring out a new logo for OWLS, because now that we're getting a little bit bigger, we have to have a new logo. Right now we're just stealing this one.
And still in the working process. Working process. We'll get on that, folks.
Yeah. So that's my thing. Or if something like, if there's a hiccup within how things run, then you might see me pop in. But usually I'm just like a total creeper. Like I just creep on everything you guys say. And then you guys say something like
video with Lonely Island.
Right? You say something like "Heck you," and I'm like, yeah, what was that? Let me just get in on that. And then I dissolve back into the shadows.
No, because Cat is popping all over this, which seems to be a new word, popping.
That was my popping dance. You guys can
well, Cat has a baby. Naja has her teddy bear thing, which says her in a nutshell. And
Puma is wonderful. All right, you don't mess with Puma. I also have, crochet crap all over the place, but
what do I have? I have a kangaroo. Maybe the kangaroo will stay. I mean, it's in the meaning. Really? It falls off. Okay. Well, if anybody realizes that, it's very dim and dark where everybody else is, and because these two lovely people are in America, you may notice it's in the day, and my lighting is crap. So I'm in different time zone. I'm in Australia, so very odd to see it night time. It's daytime here. Anyway, I will be hosting this live stream. Get on with the show, and I was keeping it short and sweet. I'm just known as Lita on the internet. I do way too many things. I've cut some stuff back. I'm a blogger. I'm a casual YouTuber when I feel like uploading anything, and I do like podcast stuff on the side. And I write for Manga Tokyo as well, which is like, ooh, me and Naja get to have Manga Tokyo talks, which is interesting.
Rants. They're rants. They're rants. She listens to me complain. I keep having to censor myself because I don't know what they're ask for. Yeah, but we have rants. I've ranted about Kokoku. I've ranted about Netflix.
Kangaroo in here.
Ranted about the writing process and how reviews suck.
The kangaroo will stay there. Okay. All right. So, but before I get into our main tour, we've had a uprise in bloggers, new members. I shouldn't say uprise. And then we've had extra members join our team, and I could not mention them. And I've got to remember who's joined our team because first off, we have Martha. Yes, I'm highlighting you, Martha, because I saw what you wrote in the Discord. Crazy wacko weirdos who do a live stream. So Martha from Marth's Anime Blog, who's a new member. We have Gloria from Girl, forgot the name of your blog. Damn it. Hang on. I have it. Do I have it on my tablet? Wait.
I got my phone out.
The Nerdy Girl News. I'm so sorry, guys. We have Marina from Anime B&B. God, there's more folks. We have Cardi, who's a fellow Aussie blogger from 100 Anime Words. Word
anime. 100 word anime. Wait, isn't it 200 word anime now?
Yeah. We have two new YouTubers alongside Gigi. We have Dylan from Dynamic Dylan, and we also have Melissa, who recently joined us. I can't remember the name of your YouTube contact girl. I'll put it in the all the links to all their blogs and stuff will be down below. I've got to put that in there. And the most recent one, we had Jack from the Any Rider just join us just a couple of days ago. So yay! If I've left out anybody, please don't hate on me. Oh wait, we should mention. Oh yes. Oh, I should forget. It was probably like ages ago, but we have Irina from the Drunken Anime blog. She joined us as well. Sorry, Irina, I finally had a mental phase out of who's joined our blog. Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm switching sites.
Wait. Then we had Matt. I'm looking at the thing now.
Yeah,
now we've had Matt from Matt Doyle Media. He's joined us as well. This is some of these members all joined us like in the last few months. So our team has grown to nearly 39 members.
Yes, 39. We were
huge. It's like yeah. Anyway,
no, really, still hurt.
So all the links to all the members I mentioned, forget some, will be put down below. The stream will be a disaster, just so you know, folks. So our May tour, we covered the topic movement, where our lovely Lynn from Something About Lynn blogger, she comes up with the topic ideas for us. And I'll just read the prompt. So we join movements, organizations, and systems that align with our personal values and beliefs. Sometimes we join these groups because they believe in doing good and making positive changes in society. However, these movements can turn sour when a dictator arises or behind the good intentions. There is a hidden agenda of oppression. It is in these groups that individuals start to shape their identities by questioning their values and beliefs or conforming to the system. This month, we will be examining real and or fictitious movements, organizations, or systems in anime and other pop cultural mediums and the positive and negative effects they have on the individuals in society. Oh, that's like the longest prompt I think I've ever read. It's the longest one. It's like a mouthful. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. All right. So first up, how this usually works. Well, we'd never really had a system of how it usually works. We go through all of our members' posts for the month, and we have a lot. We have, I don't know how many. We have more than 10. So
we have one per day.
All three of us will just be giving just a little short spill on each one, because this month's our members wrote novels. You guys wrote novels of posts. You know how long it took me to get through all of them? 2 hours. 2 hours to like get through in ones, and I had to write notes. This is the first time I've had to write notes on the individual ones because there was so much I thought I'm going to forget. I can't remember it off the top of my head. So it was novel month for this topic.
Y'all know how I feel about novels.
Yeah. Now, if anybody doesn't know, Naja doesn't like long novel posts. That's just her thing, but she'll still read them. She'll still read them.
We'll do it.
Yeah,
she likes short, sweet posts. Yes. And the shortest one was by Martha. So props to you, Martha, for the shortest post of the month.
Mark, you're my favorite this month. Literally. I read through it after like 10 novels, and I was like, this is beautiful. I was like, thank you so much. Like, this was so great. And then I read the next one after, and it was a long one, and I was like, all of you.
All right. So,
but there were 20 posts in total.
Was there? Oh, God.
There were 20 posts.
20 posts. Holy crap, we're going to be here for a while. So this is good. You guys can, when we finished, you guys can just come back later and listen to the rest of it. So the first one, let's get underway. The first one who started off was Matt from Matt and the Hat, who is always so early with his posts. Go, dude. I'm never early. I always do it the night before or on the day. Yeah. And he covered Star Wars. I'm reading off this on my tablet. So good to have this tablet. Star Wars on Anakin's dark movement for justice and power. So I will get Kat to start us off with what you thought about that post.
I will get into it. So first off, I would have to say that yes, Matt is always early, and I am convinced that like he has a secret in with Lynn, and she like lets him know like 2 months in advance what she's gonna do. Because I swear, like a post will come out and he'll be like, just letting you guys know my post is done. And I'm like, how, dude? How
Yes.
you doing this?
Every time. I'm like, oh.
I am like, so Matt did his on Star Wars. And first off, I will give him also kudos because he threw in some X-Men, and that's my jam. So man, he could have done a post on X-Men. I thought at first, I was like, when I was reading it, I was like, are we talking X-Men or Star Wars? But it got into Star Wars later. But the thing that I kind of my takeaway from it was just how like our past experiences really, really determine sometimes what choices we're going to make. And so you have a character, spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen the prequels, I guess, or lives under a rock and does not understand where Star Wars is. But you have, because of his past experiences, does end up going into the dark side. And the irony of it all is his greatest fear is losing, the person he loves. And it's his choices, honestly, that lead to her death. Like she dies of the line is, she says, you've broken my heart, and she like dies from a broken heart. And it's just interesting kind of how, our choices, in his case, his choices led to his own greatest fear. And then after he had already done it and lost everything, I mean, where is there left to go? So I thought that was a pretty interesting take on that. Also, so we win.
Sorry.
What's up?
Oh, we lost Lita. Lita down.
Lita's down.
Lita down.
That automatically makes you the second person who has to talk. You know that, right? She did it on purpose.
I know, she dipped out on purpose so I'd have to talk. I was not prepared, but here we are.
We are.
Like Pat said, when I first started reading this, I really thought, I was like, oh, wait, he's doing it on X-Men, but it clearly says Star Wars in the title. Maybe I'm wrong. So, yeah. Lita's back. So,
sorry.
She's back. You abandoned us on purpose.
Right? Just so you wouldn't have to go second. I'm on to you, Lita.
Yeah, that's what we
clicked the wrong button. I clicked the wrong button. Oops. I thought the live stream had gone dead. I thought, oh crap. It's okay.
I would have just gone to sleep. Nap. I've been scrolling looking for this quote for the longest, and I still haven't found it yet. I was hoping that I would have it by the time he came back. I didn't.
Is it a quote from the movie? Or is it a quote from
no, it's a quote from his article. It was the quote that Yoda said, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
anyhow,
that's what
I think that's it. But like Kat said, I kind of thought he was going with X-Men as well, which would have been an awesome thing to choose, because I would have been like, yes, all over this. But I think Anakin was probably a really good character to choose for this topic. What are we, movement? Because he's kind of hyped up to be this great savior. He's going to change the tide of the Force. He's going to put an end to all the suffering. He's going to bring balance to the Force. And like Kat said, whatever rock you've been living under, I'm spoiling Star Wars. I'm sorry. And they think he's going to be this great force for good, but what he ends up being is the complete opposite. He does, and the thing is, he does exactly what the prophecy says. He does bring balance to the Force, just in the other direction. And a lot of he causes his own problems. He doesn't know how to give up. He doesn't give up on Padme when they tell him not to. Like, hey, you can't fall in love. You can't get married. And what does he do? He's like, I'm going to be an angsty teen. I'm going to marry her anyway. Then they're like, you can't have kids. And he's like, oh, Padme's like, oh, pregnant. It's like, oh, wonderful. He's like, all right, well, we're just going to keep it a secret from them. Then it's like, hey, you have to give up on your mom. Don't go back for her. And what does he do? He goes back for his mom. He sees what happened to her. He gets upset. He gets angry. And he gives into this hate. He gives into this anger, and it changes him as a person. And that's ultimately his downfall. Like, it was perfect. It was really perfect, Matt. I was like, awesome. I was like, this is beautiful. And I'm butchering it, and I'm tired. But that's my take. So, Lita, please take it away from me so I can stop talking.
No, all tired folk, and I'm so wide awake. Okay,
No.
so
It's 10 p.m. here on the East Coast, unlike over there.
it's
in Australia.
11:30 in the well, I say morning. It'll be midday soon. It'll be like half my day gone. Okay, so for the record, I have never seen Star Wars. I never saw the old Star Wars. Yes.
Get out. Get out. Your task is to get out of the live stream and go watch. The live stream is trying to save you. Go now.
Plays, but now it's done.
You know the drill. Out.
Well, anyway, I can't get out. I'm hosting, so I volunteered. Yeah, so it was really new for me when I was reading Matt's post. It was I loved how Matt went in depth about each of the sequels and that. I remember when I was young, I remember watching The Phantom Menace was my first one, but I only saw the first quarter of the movie. And when I was reading Matt's article, I had no idea that the young orphan boy who appears in like the first few minutes of the Phantom Menace movie, he was going to end up being like this major villain, this sweet little boy, and then he ends up becoming a villain all twisted. I would never have anticipated that. And I would never. And I was just, as I was reading this, so it made me think about that. And I'm like, crap, I didn't think this was going to happen. It's probably like spoiled it for me now. And obviously Akin had, as a young boy, everybody saw, well, I can't remember who it was that saw that he had the Force, he had the ability, he had the power. Then it was shown before the council. I do remember that scene, but that is as far as I can go with it. And as I was reading through Matt's post, I was seeing what the dude had gone through, like he had a romance that was cut off so tragically, and that all the stuff that happened with his mother. He's probably spoiled it for me, but then again, it's fine. But I like the moral of Matt's post where it went from, a hero with going towards a villain, and how, just all the, past events have, and all the after blow after blow, just, put him on the path towards evil. It's not really evil. It's, it's hate and revenge that he was put on the path towards. And it's not like that. It's to say, he wasn't a bad person in the beginning. When somebody that's so good, and then certain things have happened in their life, and then they just end up going on the negative route of things. It's not like no one has forced them. It's just of events that have occurred. So I like that perspective on the topic of movement. And I liked and also at the end of his post, he talked about, how toxic it can get in like the anime community itself, and how some people just get swallowed up by all the negativity on the internet and crap. And I'm sure like in the beginning, they probably, they just want to voice their opinions and that, and then they just get ended. And they just want, free country. I can say what I want. And then they get swallowed. Now his face. And then you get swallowed up in the toxic environment. Yep. So that is what I got from Matt's post. And it's made me want to watch all of Star Wars now. Like, seriously, dude, you made me want to watch all of the Star Wars. Yes. I have seen, my first Star Wars ever was The Force Awakens. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was my first Star Wars movie ever. I know it's a newer one, but I just never, my family really never grew up with Star Wars. My family was like never into it. So, but for what everyone's been waiting for, they all want to know what prize they're going to get for this live stream. I've covered cakes. I've covered pies. What else have I covered?
Done cookies.
And everyone's thinking, oh, ice cream. I'm like, save that for another one. This time we're going pancakes because that's what I've been craving, honestly, recently. We're going pancakes, folks. So Matt, you get and there's going to be like no favorite one because I legitimately loved every single post this month. Like the depth that you guys went into, all the members, like outstanding in my eyes. So Matt, you do get one of my favorites though. I have many pancake favorites. You probably get chocolate chip pancakes. Ooh. Yes, and the style I usually do it is vanilla ice cream, and then I usually put like dark chocolate chips on top of the pancakes. Usually there's a stack of you get a stack of like 3 thick pancakes. I like thick pancakes. I don't like a measly thin one. I'm just like, there's nothing there. So that's all with dark chocolate chips and then chocolate. So you get chocolate chip pancakes. Okay. What are you laughing at?
You said you like them thick, and I just couldn't help myself. I snickered.
Yeah, I'll just throw different chocolate ones at Snickers pancakes. Twix pancakes. No, there'll be very different ones. So well done, Matt. All right, who's the next one? Look at the schedule.
Kat. It's Kat from Grim Girl.
Oh, yes, it is. Hi. We've got movement through Sailor Moon. Yay, we're going old school again. And let's see. Naja, you can start us off.
Okay.
Before Naja goes, I would just like to say I think Naja particularly enjoyed while I was pregnant because all my posts were like a sentence long because I just
they were like really short. And I was like, thank you so much. And then she wrote one on My Hero Academia, and I was like, Kat, I thought we had a thing going.
Right, we had a moment, and now that's ruined.
She's like, oh, well, it's My Hero Academia, so she'll be okay with it. And I read it, and I was like, yeah, I am. But I still realize it's a novel. You tried to trick me. It's okay. This is My Hero Academia. But
I try to sneak peas in for the kids. I was like, Naja, look at this deliciously short chocolate bar. Surprise, it's kale.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? And I was like, about my boy. It's cool. We're gonna watch it. It's gonna be great. It's fine. This one, Kat absolutely positively loves Sailor Moon. Like she loves Sailor Moon. She did a whole like breakdown of the manga and the 90s anime, and then she did a comparison of the two, and then she did something about Crystal. So like it's everywhere. All over her blog. So when she said she was writing about Sailor Moon, I was like, oh, snapdoodle, what's she gonna cover that she hasn't covered before? Let's see, surprise me. And then she did. She covered the whatever how do you say that?
The boys.
Yeah, the gym boys went evil because they were stupid. But her post focused more so on, like Matt's, the power of emotions and fear and how that twists people from one ideology to the next. And she did that by looking at the shit news, the shitty heads, I suppose. Right. We're going to for this post because that's what they were. They were but they were originally the protectors and bodyguards and besties with Prince Endymion, Handsome McCancy Pants, or Darren if you watched it in the dub like I did as a child. Mamoru, that's his name, boom. So they were his besties, and they saw that he was getting with his, his sweet thing over there, Miss Moon Princess chick, Serenity. And they were like, whoa, bros before garden tools. And he was like, but I love her. And they were like, but we've been bros, bro. Like, she's one of those people we don't trust. And he was like, no, she's cool, we talked, she's pretty, she's not gonna do anything crazy. And they let doubt and fear kind of cloud their judgment, and rather than taking his word for it and trying to accept her as someone that he wanted to be with, and maybe that she wasn't quite so bad, and his judgment wasn't clouded by, you know, hot piece of moon booty.
Hot piece of
They let it corrupt them, and they went over to the dark side, and they were actually his biggest, like, that was like the biggest, like, upset, because they had been his friends. It was like one of those Caesar moments. It was like, et tu, Brute? And it was like, yeah, bruh, you chose this chick over us. We couldn't do that. So they joined the, they joined the dark side. They kind of, they rebel against him, and they lead to his downfall and the downfall of the Moon Kingdom. And it's the idea that movements don't necessarily have to be big things. They just have to find the right place to hit a person, what a person needs to hear in order to change their ideologies. And for these butt munches, it was their fear of the Moon Kingdom. And that opened, I like how Kat kind of said that their fear kind of superseded their loyalty to Prince and Endymion. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pronounce it properly this entire but the fear kind of clouded those years and years of trust and friendship. It superseded that, and it led them down a path they couldn't really return from. And it changed their whole worldview. It changed the whole world. It screwed everybody over. And it's this idea that if we could put aside this fear of the unknown and maybe, you know, more acceptance. I know I'm trying. Good God, Lita. Hey. I was short on maths because I was gibberish, and now I actually have like real stuff to say, and you're rushing me. Long story short, it was just the idea that it's not something big that causes a wave. It's something small. It's little changes here and there that you find what people have an issue with or where their problems are, and you exploit that, and you can twist someone to whatever you want them to believe. There you go. You're done. I'm wrapped up. Boom. Lita, go. Or Kat.
You're done so soon. Oh.
So good.
I love my novel.
Maybe I'll just take my sweet time since I'm hosting, since I got forced into this.
You should have a buzzer. Or time limit. You just hit the buzzer and it goes.
It's all right. You can be very ruthless when we get to my post.
Oh, please believe you're the last one. Absolutely.
Ready.
I think we're making you guys
so ready
right now. Let us know if you're having a ball. You're laughing. Okay, so. Well, Naja pretty much, as usual, always says what I'm thinking. I think I can add anything to it. I was happy to see that Kat. I thought Kat might do Sailor Moon. It was just a feeling. I was like, oh, it's like a no from my crystal ball. So I liked. See, they didn't take that perspective with the old 90s of Sailor Moon, because I've never fully read the Sailor Moon manga. I'm up to volume 5. I own volume 5. I need to get the rest of the volumes. And so I didn't know that in the manga, I finally saw where it was going in the Sailor Moon Crystal, which I do like Sailor Moon Crystal. I think it was in episode 4 or 5 of Sailor Moon Crystal, where Sailor Jupiter comes in. Oh, holla, like best episode ever. Where I saw that she used to love Nephi, and I'm like, what's going on here? Why would she love him? And then like I read more about the story, and I'm like, I see now. I was like, they all used to be in love with Enemy, and I'm like, oh, I love this. Why didn't they do this in the old dub? Like the old 90s, that would be so good. Oh, that's okay. The old 90s show will always rule for me. But I love that they did this in Sailor Moon Crystal. So I was late getting into the side of things. So they were supposed to be learning. They're supposed to be protectors for Prince Endymion. They're supposed to be protectors for him, and then that negativity from Queen Beryl and that thing that's puffs up like a like a smoke or whatever she's called, Metalia, I think that's her name, Metalia, that they're just easily swooned by their own doubt and fear. And I like that perspective that Kat focused on for a post about fear, that how it diverges. Oh, look how bright I am right now. And then I go back. How fear derives us easily. We stray off the path so easily from our own fear, basically. So, Kat, you did so well in your post. Good girl. And you get, because your post was simple, we get a simple pancake. So you get the usual, the lemon and sugar pancakes, like mega sugar overload. I had too many of those as a child. So yeah, oh yeah, hopefully you're all over that. But the best pick me up ever if you just like you needed sugar high. Best pick me up ever. So would you like to to give your own little spill on your own post?
I will say this on my post. I think my my biggest takeaway that I hope everyone takes from it is that everyone should read the Sailor Moon manga.
I'm going to now. I will make a effort to put more of the volume.
There's so much there's so much in there. But in all seriousness, I would say something that I just see all too often. I mean, I see it within, my own family members, let alone, just people out in society, is how quickly, I would say never underestimate what fear can do. How quickly people's ideologies will change just based on fear. In the manga, you really, really see that, Prince Edamon's crew, they really were there for him. And when they get to the point where they switch loyalties, it's because in their mind, because of their fear, they really do believe that they're doing the right thing. They really do believe that he's wrong, and that, ultimately what they're doing is going to save the earth and save and protect Prince Edamon. Like, even though obviously their actions lead to his death, but they've been able to, in their own fear, convince themselves that they're really still protecting their friend. And I think that's kind of like the scary thing of fear, is that it can really convince your brain that you are, doing something that's helpful for others. And I think like this idea is one of the real reasons I truly enjoy OWLS. And I'm glad that our membership is expanding, because that fear comes from not understanding somebody. So if we have a group like OWLS where we're constantly talking from, I mean, look at us. The three of us are all three of us, just looking at the three of us, are from such different walks of life. If we can have some understanding just between us and, between the groups and things, that learning experience just quells that fear, helping us to all just kind of take a beat and think to ourselves, am I doing this because I'm afraid? Or am I doing this because I really think this is the best thing for somebody? So I hope that came across in my post. Would be my big thing. So that's it. And also, seriously, read the manga. Everyone, stop after the stream. Go read the Sailor Moon manga. I swear to God, I'm going to flip out if
during the stream.
Al's mama gives you orders.
Right? This is a direct presidential order.
Executive order from the president.
Hello, Mel. Hi, Zoe. Shout out to you guys. I see you, notice you in the chat. All right, next up was Ori, or I don't know how everyone says her names. I just call her Ori, to be honest.
I like that one better.
Yeah, Ori.
Still with Ori.
Unfortunately, Ori's going on a long hiatus due to real life, but still going to talk about her post, which was on Assassination Classroom. Interesting. It was called When It's No Longer Just a Number. So, Kat, you can give your spill first. I'm just going in order of how we're ordered in the Google chat.
Keep changing those. Helpful.
So my take of this is, here's another thing that people may not know about me. So I was pumped to read Arya's post, because if you guys are new, you guys won't know that my background is actually in teaching. So I taught third grade for a while, and I do things in outreach stuff now with my community, now using my teacher background. And so when I was reading this, like, I can't even describe, like, I'm like literally reading this and I'm like, she's speaking my heart. Like, like these questions she's bringing up with the education system through this show is just so true. And as a teacher, it's heartbreaking for me to see our education system really brought down to just numbers. And I can only speak from an American perspective. I know that we have members that are from all countries and things like that, so I can only speak from the educations here in America. But here in America, one of my biggest things is we know that we're doing things that are wrong. Like teachers know that, you can't base a standardized one standard a child knows. It's just not practical. But we do, in this country, we do that. We do that all the time. These things determine futures. Your ACT score literally determines the colleges you can even apply to in this country. Or if you're living on the other side of America, it would be your stats. Either way, this is insane. To become a teacher, even just that, there were 2 tests that I had to pass, the Praxis 1 and the Praxis 2. And it didn't matter all the other things that I had done, like with working in classrooms, putting together lesson plans, showing that kids could learn from me. None of that stuff mattered, because if I didn't pass those 2 tests, I could not be a teacher. It was as simple as that. And it's crazy. It's crazy that things are this way, and it's sad at the same time. And she talks about with the show and within her own personal life of how these things affect us and affect our drive and affect our creativity. And it really is, again, coming from a teacher perspective, I mean, it saddens me. It really, really does, where our education system is at. So this was probably one of my favorite posts, just because I could really connect with what she was saying, and I could really just feel it. If that makes sense. I was like, I feel what you're saying. So I really enjoyed this one. Give her a good pancake, Lita.
Nah, I'm giving her a rubbish one.
Oh, you get a sports pancake from me.
Oh, I'm only joking. Naja's turn. Make it short, dear.
Ori, I absolutely loved your post. As an American like Kat, I also concur with all of her arguments that she made about our education system. As someone who has had to go through it for elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and then graduate school, I am well aware of how numbers literally dictate exactly what happens in your life. I kid you not. I remember being terrified of taking the SAT, because I knew that if my score was not high enough, I would not go to a school outside of my state of Georgia, and I was ready to cry, because I did not want to stay in Georgia for school. So I studied, I went to classes, I did little books and things, all so I can get a score to get the heck out of my state, and I did, and it was wonderful. But seriously, I really like the idea of how she tied in her personal experiences with education while tying in the anime as well. I've never seen Assassination Classroom, and I probably won't. Sorry. It's not high on my list, and I'm not going to commit to anything I know I'm not going to do. But when I was reading her post, I had an aha moment back when I was in middle school. Up until that point, my mom and my dad, they were always the same. It's always the same. Get straight A's, excel, do all these different clubs, do all these different organizations, just make sure you succeed, things like that. Especially as a Black female in America, it's like you gotta be twice as hard. So you gotta do more just to get that leg up. So up until that point, I'd literally run myself ragged, studying, passing tests, making sure I was top of my class, doing all of these different things to be that leg up. And then I had a moment in middle school where I just could not, for the life of me, no matter how hard I tried, I could not do well in this class. I don't even remember what it was, but I got a C. And I was so terrified of bringing that grade home to my mom, and the look on her face knowing that I didn't do what I was supposed to do, which was to get A's. That was it. And I took it to her, and she was upset, of course. She was like, do better next time. But she was more like, study now. And that moment was really low for me, because I was like, I'd never gotten anything below a B ever. And even a B went up to an A immediately afterwards through extra credit or whatever else I had to do. And I felt like crap. I was like, oh my God, like this sucks. I'm a failure. And then I had a moment where I realized I made it to the next grade with the C and everything. And I realized it didn't really actually matter. I would still get the same results, even if I didn't get an A. Even if I got that C, I'd still move on to the next grade. I'd still graduate. It would be the same. And then I had an aha moment where I was just like, I don't have to work as hard anymore. Screw my grades. And they kind of leveled out a bit. I mean, that was not, I don't think that's what she was going with her post, but I kind of just took a chill pill and did things my own way. And I felt a lot more comfortable with myself and where I was as a student without having to break my back trying to do all this work. So, yeah. And then in Georgia, they arrested like 10 teachers because they cheated on standardized tests. But what they failed to actually say was they based the teachers' salary and their jobs on whether or not their students passed this test. Their students didn't pass the test, then the teachers were being docked their pay. They were seen as not being teaching properly because you're supposed to teach to the test. And when we get to that point, when it's not about gaining understanding and learning, and it's more so about the end result, which is a test score or a grade or whether or not you meet the standard for the county, for the district, that's where our education system kind of fails because we're teaching the test. We're not teaching people. We're not teaching children to, what's the word? I can't think of it. We're not teaching them to be actual individuals or people. We're teaching them a test. So when they get out in the real world and they go out in the real world, they don't know how to vote or to write a letter or to cash a check or to file their taxes, but they know the circumference of a circle or the diameter of a circle or something stupid like that we don't need every day. It's kind of a failing on our part, but that's all I have to say on that.
Right, and I would say, just going off what you just said, Naja, like something to like keep in mind, and again, just coming from like what we're doing as like in the school, I think something I realized very quickly while I was teaching and how these standardized tests have affected us in a negative way. Something that we have to keep in mind is, okay, so as a teacher, a standardized test for me is a great tool. But it's not my only tool in the arsenal. It's not the only way I can tell if a child knows something. A standardized test is just a snippet, and it really depends on how that child is feeling that day. And the problem that we run into is because we're basing so much off one snippet, we do start to teach to the test, and it becomes a thing of I'm not teaching kids how to be emotionally prepared for life. I'm teaching kids how to just give me the answer that I need to say that they, have this answer. And I remember teaching like 3rd grade, and some of the issues we would have socially. I mean, I remember one day, at the end of the day, I had half my girls crying. So I had 13 girls crying, all because, and the reason they were all crying is they'd gotten into a fight because one of the girls had said that orange was not her favorite color. And they did not have the social skills to just like have a conversation on just something like this, because that social time, we have cut down so much in that in our elementary schools that and it's just about grinding in these these facts that they literally could not as individuals kind of come together and just say to each other, oh, like at my age, I would just say like, you don't like orange, that's whatever, I do. But they couldn't do that. They took great offense, and that's an issue you would see with a 4-year-old, and it's something that we usually teach our 4-year-olds how to handle. But because standardized testing at this point in America we even do this at a pre-K level now. We just don't have time to teach people how to be socially and emotionally people, and that's crazy because self-care and those social emotional skills are so important. And it's insane to me that we don't do that. But that's so I would add that one last piece.
And then we got children running around doing nutso things because they don't know how to actually handle life.
How to
miserable
just function.
Like, I honestly, it's basic functioning skills. Like, I've talked to my younger brothers, and like there's stuff they don't know, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna be graduating soon. Like, I can't understand why you don't know how to do that. Like, that's not okay. But yeah, I have an issue with standardized tests in general because one, they disproportionately exclude minority students, especially because they're not inclusive tests. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
There's a wonderful book called The Bell Curve that you all should read. It talks about standardized testing and how minority students fall on that scale. It's wonderful. But yeah, they're kind of training you to think a certain way.
Yes.
And it's not okay. Yeah.
And I would say, I'm just going to answer a question because I can see them talking in chat. So to answer one of you guys' chat questions about what standardized tests are used for, how this works in a school. So if we look at this at an elementary level, my third graders, for instance, take their standardized test. They take it in the spring. And it's to judge how well, basically, I've taught them for that year. The problem with this standardized test is one is it's not inclusive for where they're at. So for instance, if a question asks them, this could be a question on there. They ask them, you go to the store is closed, what should you do? The answer to the question would be, go to the next store. However, I teach in a rural area. There is no next store. If that store is closed, that's it. So my students mark down, go home. Like, you got nothing. And they get that wrong. Well, that's not fair because that's not indicative of what they actually know. So you have that problem. You have the issues that we have with, I had a kid who was in the process of getting things for ADHD, but because he didn't actually have it, he still had to sit and take the hour and 45-minute test on the math portion sitting down. You're not going to get out of him what he really knows because we're not doing the things that he needs to even succeed in that test. And then the last part of it that's really frustrating as a teacher is then I don't get those results back on a state standardized test until next year in about November. My third graders are now fourth graders into November of their fifth grade year. I don't even have them anymore. So I can't even use these tests to improve their lives. Those tests just go into a warehouse that we have at the school where they never see the light of day because the teacher that they currently have can't use them because there's already been so many, it's not a current test. So it's really it's very frustrating in the teacher world with these tests because again, they can be great tools if you're using them with there are so many other ways to test a child. And if you're using it with all of those things, then yes, awesome. But if you're using it as the only thing to judge somebody's intelligence, you're never going to know what they can really do. And so it's very frustrating. But yeah, so I hope that answered your question in chat because I saw you guys kind of asking what they were for. That's kind of what it would look like at an elementary level. So I can tell you that.
They're miserable. Let's just say they're miserable. All of them. A whole lot of them. What is this? God, I'm thinking I think there's a new one too. I don't know. But yeah, Lita says we should hurry it up. Next up is Naja.
Hey, I do not say hurry.
Avatar.
Say hurry up. Oh,
Naja was the Avatar.
I like taking standardized tests. Martha says he likes taking standardized tests. Well, we know he's a smarty bean, so not that he preaches it. He's not a preacher that, I'm so smart. No.
That's probably a good way to know. That might be his learning style might really excel in it like that.
So, yeah, that's the thing.
Oh yeah, he excels.
Once you know how to pass a test, it's not hard to do it. No. It's just for people who can't turn it off like that. That's where the tests fail. They really, really get you to think a certain way. But Meandro, Avatar, The Last Airbender.
I haven't even given my spill, excuse me.
You tell me to hurry up, I try, and then you cut me off.
I'm supposed to be the host. Look at my face.
I mean, you can be host. I didn't want
host.
it.
You've made me host now. I have to take on board this responsibility.
You volunteered. volunteered. I didn't.
No.
Okay.
I was really
background information. So what happened was Lita was like, I'm setting up the live stream. And I'm like, awesome. No, I'm going to quote word for word now because it's called. So what had happened was Lita was like, I'm setting up the live stream. And I was like, oh, sweet. Whispers. I was like, Lita should toast. I was like, whispers. Lita should host the stream. And she's like, me? Oh, I was like, oh, wow. You volunteered. Wonderful. Great. Lita's gonna host. And then she's like, wait, what? No. Hold on. What just happened? It's like, you volunteered.
No, I did not. You cozy into it. See the movement.
Did no such thing.
The movement of persuasion. I should have done that for my post.
Literally wrote little thingies. I was like, whispers. Lita should host the stream. It's just like me, and I'm like, yeah. I sure did say toast. I was like, toast.
Term usage. What does that mean, Scott? Nobody understands Lita's term usage. Oh, sorry, the smarty bean. Yeah, that's a UK thing. It just means somebody who's smart. Is it really? Anyway,
Lita's views.
Lita's views will be short because my background is very different in terms of education. I think I'm the only different one here. I really liked hearing other people's opinions and stuff because I know how different the education is in America, and I knew you'd be getting into real detail about it. Oh no, they're coming to take me away.
Oh, my bad. That's my background.
They're coming to take Naja away. It's too much.
Sorry.
You're coming to take Naja away.
Take her away for a low procrastination level.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I knew Kat would be going into deep with this. I loved how Ori went in deep with this as well. I've seen half of Assassination Classroom, which is actually really interesting. It's about a group of Class E, who are like the worst class, and of course the top class is Class A, and then they get this weird alien creature teacher called Kuroko Sensei, and he the interesting thing about the series is that he teaches the class, but the kids are taught assassination. Their mission is to assassinate their teacher while he teaches them to learn, because Kuroko Sensei, well, it makes he makes an idle threat to the world. You know, I will destroy it, and I can't remember what was behind it. It's something to do with the moon. He will destroy the moon or something. And yeah, so they have no choice but to listen to Kuroko Sensei, and that's when he comes to teach Class E. And it's so funny. It is a hilarious series, let me tell you, how he goes about his strange teaching methods, how he teaches the kids. You know, one minute they'll be trying to assassinate him, the next, you know, he'll be all, you know, tender and loving and support his students. And you know, the kids get confidence, they do, that somebody actually believes in them, and it's this comedic aspect that's added to the series, which I really loved. And I thought somebody's going to pick Assassination Classroom, because how could they not? And I like the message that Ori had, that, you know, it's not all about numbers. Like, my education was very different, and Marth made a comment saying it is much simpler in European and Asian countries. In Europe, it is simpler. When I wanted to go my final year which was high school in the UK, we did have a week of taking exams, and honestly, we didn't have any standardized tests to pick which college we wanted. There was 3 colleges in my area, and you basically had to fill out an application and support and just give reference to your education, your exam results, all that. And you were pretty much accepted like you like how you would do in an American college, but we had to like fill out an application. And then I moved to Australia, and it's completely different, the system here as well. I say my final year of year 12 was the most stressful. It is the most stressful part of the education system here. I didn't get a lot of. I only got like a standard second satisfactory achievement. You know, I had my learning difficulties because of my autism and that, and you know, there was a lot of classes I dropped. I didn't. Some of the I failed a lot on my tests and exams. Some of the tests I didn't study for. Some of them. And you know, I never aimed for university here. The standard here was really too high. It's called a Tetri score, and you have to have a really high score for that. And luckily there's like a substitute, it's called TAFE here, and it gives people here that have, you know, like me, who are like have a low IQ level, I'll call it, or just who only got satisfactory like scores in school, gives folks here the opportunity to go to this place called TAFE. So that's where I was able to learn my education and do all my certificates and stuff. And I don't know what I would have done if we didn't have that substitute option. Otherwise, the only option would have been university here. So I feel you guys in America that it's unreal to take a standardized test for each grade. Bloody ridiculous, as Martha describes. Yeah, and I just, you know, hearing all that, you know, just makes me grateful for what I have here and how it was. I'm not saying it wasn't tough in both my education in the UK and Australia. No, it's still tough. They've still got their restrictions and crap. At the end of the day, I was pretty happy with my satisfaction achievement and numbers on everything. So for that, Ari. Oh, I mean Ari. I should call you Ori. You like this aura of light. Well, everybody calls it Aurora. Girl, we spent a lot of time on your post. You better watch this. Guys, you better get her to watch this because she's probably the largest segment. So for that, you get a very special pancake, Ori. You get strawberries and cream pancake. That's basically a stack of pancakes with maple syrup, some whipped cream, and cut up strawberries, which is another one of my favorites. So that's this pancake you get. All right, we're finally going to move on from all this talk of education. It hurts my brain now. I'm just like, oh, stuff education sometimes. All right, the next one we have is Meandro, and he did the fight for peace in Avatar. Now, I know somebody who's going to got a lot to say about this one. I can feel it. So we're going to start off with her. We're going to start off with Naja.
Boom!
She came
to like think really hard. I absolutely love Avatar: The Last Airbender. Legend of Korra I like, but not as much. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, the first like 2 seasons, I was like, bam, this is like gonna be shizzles, and then it kept going, and I was like, ugh. But we're not gonna talk about that. But I really, really love Meandro's post. This isn't the first time that somebody's talked about Avatar, but I definitely thought it was fitting here. Meandro started off their post by first talking about the peace agreements between North and South Korea, and how they're kind of coming together now to please stop talking about Voltron. I would like to watch it. I was actually supposed to be watching it now.
No, don't do it. I actually want to watch that show too.
I bring up season 6. I'm like, I'm about to leave the stream and watch it on my phone. But I didn't. But Meandro started off the post by talking about the kind of peace agreements or the peace talks between North and South Korea. Now, after years of, silent Cold War, they're kind of coming together as on peaceful terms now, kind of, like they're one unified country, but not. And he then segued into the division of the Avatar world between the 4 nations: the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to remember if I'm saying this right. The Fire Nation, water. The Earth Nation, Fire, Air, Earth, Water. I know. I was going through the thing in my head. But the four nations and how they once lived in harmony, but then, you know, the Fire Nation was like, and then the Fire Nation attacked. And then everybody was relying on the Avatar, master all four elements. Oh my God, I'm quoting it. So there are four nations, and they once lived in peace, but then the Fire Nation got too big for their britches, and they're like, we are better than everyone else. We could just take over. And they did. And the first thing they did was they tried to wipe out air nomads, which they did, but they missed the Avatar because they're idiots. And Aang comes back. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. So Aang comes back, and he comes back 100 years later after the war has been waged and the world has been changed, and the Fire Nation pretty much rules everything else. Yeah, they were very uppity. Thank you, Scott. Me and you, they were uppity. Right. Yeah. He comes into this world that he went back in the day, because everything was one, everyone was in unity, everything was in peace. And then he comes into this kind of broken society, and he's being tasked with having to put the pieces back together, because the task of the Avatar is to bring balance to the nations. And he's just this kid, and he's like, I have to do all these great things. And he's been raised in a certain to be an Avatar, but he's still a kid, and he has to make all these big decisions, and it's kind of tough for him because he just wants to be a kid, and he can't because he's the Avatar. And there's a lot of internal strife and struggle and beautiful imagery and stuff, and it's like peace through mutual growth and understanding rather than, you know, infighting and things like that. But what I really liked was Meandro actually went beyond the show and actually started looking at the comics, which look back at the time after Aang, quote unquote, saved the world. And you would think that once the Avatar defeated the, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling it for people. I said that earlier.
If someone who's never
seen the Avatar defeats the fire, I'm not gonna tell you how he does it because it's stupid, and I thought it was stupid at the time, and I still think it's stupid. But I digress. But after he defeats the Fire Lord and brings peace to the world, they still have to pick up the pieces. It's not a perfect society because they're still left with the remnants of what happened with the Fire Nation. And one of the biggest problems were the colonies, the Earth colonies that the Fire Nation had taken over while they were in power. And the Fire Nation have been so integrated into the society, they've become mixed. There were children born of Earthbenders and Earth Nation citizens and Fire Nation citizens. And when everything was reclaimed, there was this whole, well, the Fire Nation people need to go back where they belong, and the Earth Nation folks need to go back where they belong as well. But their society had become so ingrained with one another that that wasn't possible. You couldn't separate them without causing some internal strife with the people themselves, and then with the nations, between the nations. So there was this whole peace agreement, there was whole battles and wars waged over how they were going to deal with this, and they ended up coming up with a republic. Yeah, all the melons were definitely wasted, but came up with a peace agreement.
It was like chuckling to myself. All the melons.
Thank you.
I was looking at the comment. I was like, "Oh, the melons are wasted."
Because you saved me. Because I'm saying you're like Earth Nation. I said that sounds so wrong, but it's I don't even care. It's the point. But there's peace isn't necessarily the end all for a movement. You have to pick up the pieces and then reform something new and to replace it. You can't just overthrow a social structure without having something in place to replace it or to improve upon what was being overthrown. And that was a big part of Meandro's post that I really loved. And I've talked for entirely too long because Lita is definitely giving me that look, and she put her headphones on and everything. So let's go.
Kitty cat.
All right, so I too. I was pumped to see this post, and I really, really like whenever if you're not like, because I know like sometimes my sister will tune into this and she's not actually like in OWLS. So if you're someone who's not in OWLS, something that you might not know is when you sign up for a post, Lita gives you the prompt and you'll sign up for a day and say what show you're using so that nobody picks your show. but nobody really knows what you're going to do with that. So when I saw Avatar, I was sitting there like, oh, which way are they going to do it? And this honestly kind of blew me away, because when I first thought, I thought, oh, they're probably going to do something. She's probably going to do something like like Avatar overcoming the Fire Nation or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's, I thought of like the obvious, and she took it from like a complete different perspective and talked about, you know, the peace side of it. And really putting on my philosophical hat here, this question of what do we even, you know, define as peace? Like, yes, the Fire Nation is down on the count, but is the nation at peace? And sometimes I think of that in developed, you know, we'll talk about, oh, it's a developed nation. And a lot of times, and again, I'll come at this from an American perspective. A lot of times people see America, and even, you know, within our own country, and say, well, it's good enough. You know, we're at peace, so it's good enough, without thinking of the fact that, is it really peace if not everybody is, you know, kind of sharing in it? Or is it just, you know, where are we at for that? And I thought that was a really introspective question of just how is it that we can sometimes just, you know, I just feel like as a nation or as a people, you can't just relax on your laurels. There's always room for like improvement. And just because you take down something that isn't, you know, we could even look at it from just like a civil rights perspective in this country and say, well, the civil rights was enacted. We had the Civil Rights Act, so I guess we're done. That doesn't change the fact that for years and years and years and years and years, we had, you know, like me, I'm from a mixed family myself, and my husband is now white as well. My entire existence, the fact that my Black father slept with my white mom and had a baby, like, had this happened a while ago, I mean, he would have gone to either jail or been lynched. Like, those would have been his two options. So we can't exclude the fact that this was a thing for so long in this country. It doesn't matter that the Civil Rights Act happened. That was not that long ago. And this country is still seeing repercussions from it. But we have a lot of people that say, well, no, we have this, so I guess we're just done. Kind of like in Avatar, they say, oh, well, you know, we have this, so I guess everyone's just going to live happily ever after. And that's not the way that things work, because people's opinions don't change on a dime. You know, it takes learning, it takes experiences, it takes talking with one another to combat that sort of a thing. So I love, this was another really, we had a lot of good posts this month, so that's what I have to say about that. That makes it Lita's turn.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll try and make this fast, because I think we're only on post like number 4.
Why?
You guys shouldn't have wrote long novels this month.
It's like a weekly stream.
Like why are we doing these streams? We do not have to put ourselves through such atrocity. Take our time out of my schedule, all of our schedules. You could be all binging Voltron.
I could be binging Voltron right now. I want to watch season 6 because people keep saying stuff, and I've had to avoid Twitter and Tumblr and all my other great, wonderful social media sites because I don't want to be spoiled for season 6. Because last weekend I had to go to New York when it was released, so I had to wait till this weekend to watch it. So no one mentioned Voltron in this thing again until I watch it.
Like the woman. Okay.
I usually procrastinate. Voltron is the one thing I'm up to date on. So
like Supernatural.
No.
Okay.
All right. No.
Okay. We need to do like a free stream talking about anything we do, I think, at some point. That would be nice. All right. I really enjoyed the Andrews post. What I took, I've got to look at my notes. I liked I gotta look at my notes. Lots of straight of thought. I really liked that he broke down about the Avatar. I've never seen any of the Avatar, so I'm like a newbie. So
I'm sorry, what?
I liked that he started off the post talking about peace, that it's really peace, like how we think about peace, you know, like, oh, peace is gonna be a peaceful nation. When you say, oh, we want a peaceful nation, like, you know, like what is that? Like, what is that to you? Because peace really is a different own ideal to different individuals. Peace for me is like being able to live stream in this room without any interruptions. That's peace.
Never gonna happen. So I guess we're not gonna have peace.
So we talk about world peace and that, but you know, peace could mean so many different things to so many people in different countries. It could be the simplest thing, and that's what I took away from Meandra's post. And of course, you know, Avatar is about, you know, like peace among the nations and that, but it's not going to be always that. They're going to be the ones where it was, what was it called in Avatar? You see my notes.
The Fire Nation.
Didn't write. No, I didn't write it down. It was called when all the nations were brought together. Something called the United Act. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
The United.
Yeah.
Doodle.
Even though it says the name United, you know, they're going to be people in different factions where they're not going to be all united. They're not. They're going to be people that are still going to oppress the peace. You know, there's still going to be people that aren't going to agree with it. But if there are individual minds that can just, like, their own ideals of peace that can just be settled, like they feel that like they're content with what has occurred or what has transpired, then all is well with the world, really. I mean, so, you know,
we're never gonna be happy.
I don't believe we're ever going to experience like true peace. No, not like how Donald Trump, I have to bring it up, how Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, fatty Korean. He's like, nuclear, dude. Oh, are you going, Hazel? Okay, enjoy your Ultron. All right, bye, Hazel. Enjoy your Voltron. I don't want to know about it.
No, shush. Don't watch Voltron, Hazel. You're not allowed to watch yet.
Yeah. So so, you know, all these, you know, just because they had a 38-minute talk at the Singapore summit, you know, between Trump and Kim Jong-un, doesn't mean like one talk is going to make everything better with the whole controversy of the two sides. So, you know, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. I think.
Doesn't he like?
You know what's funny? Going back to Matt's post on Star Wars, he made a similar comment that like peace and that isn't always going to be gumdrops and ice cream. So I like that saying better.
True.
Yeah, his own twist. I like the gumdrops and ice cream better. So Leandro, pancake for you, my bro. Let's see. What pancake should I throw out there? I could throw out, maybe we'll just go with a melon. We'll go with a watermelon pancake.
There's a watermelon pancake out there somewhere in the world?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Because I have eaten a watermelon pancake. That's of my own concoction. So you get a watermelon pancake.
I'm glad I didn't write a post this month because I don't get any pancakes.
All it is a pancake with maple syrup and watermelon chopped on top. So the maple syrup takes away the sort of the sogginess of, because the pancake will be saturated in watermelon juice.
Melon pancake. What is this? I've never heard of this in my life.
Okay, right. We're only on the 4th post, and now we're gonna have to really steam through because my time
All
is
right.
just my
Arena.
right.
Oh wait, no, she's leaving. Stay. We're doing your post next.
Who's leaving? Hang on.
Arena.
Wait.
Arena.
Leaving. No, stay for like 5 seconds. We'll go through it quickly.
Left already.
All right.
No.
Irena's post is called "Small Steps in Sket Dance." So, who wants to give their thoughts? Naja, go.
I'll give my 10-second thought. The biggest takeaway from her post was the kindness revolution. I've never actually seen this anime, so I have no clue what it's about. I just was going off of what she wrote. But the idea of doing small kindnesses around the school to kind of make the overall atmosphere of the school better seemed like a pretty cool idea. It's like it doesn't take a big change to make a difference, but maybe these small little happy occurrences make the overall atmosphere of the school better, because it creates this climate of change and kindness amongst the people. They see these little things, like, hey, I should do that too. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and it was short. Like, true. Thank you. Blessings. Short posts. I remember those. They have special little marks next to them. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. I really liked it. Great, short, sweet post with a lovely, clear-cut message. Beautiful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I do, like you said, I like the idea of the, I've never seen this anime either, so I don't know from this, but the small acts of kindness kind of thing. And I like the idea of it being, I think a lot of times people feel, what can I do sort of thing. Like, everybody has this idea that all these changes have to be these big, huge, like you need to lead a protest or something like that. And honestly, it can just be as simple as just little things, even within, if you take it out of the school setting, like, yes, you could do that in school, but you could also do that like within your community. Like, you know, even like little things, like I see those little, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these, but those little free libraries, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the little boxes, they're like on the roads. Yeah.
Yeah, we have them all around my neighborhood, and basically what it is somebody puts up like a little like box, and sometimes they look like a little, like, if you saw it, you might think it was like a birdhouse or something. And but if you go up to it and you open it up, there'll be books in there. And the idea is that you can put a book in there, or and you can take a book out, and nobody, it's free. Like, nobody regulates it. Anybody can put whatever book that they want in there, and it's just this small like thing. And if you think about this, like, if you are, you know, hard times or things like that, even if we even look at like homelessness, you could just walk up to there and take a book and just have it and just read it. And it seems like such a little thing, but it's like those little things can become really, really powerful things. So I thought it was a good reminder to myself to think about what little things do I do in like day-to-day life that can help others. So I liked it. That's what I say about that.
Yeah. The little munchkin was like smiling and happy.
I know.
Beautiful.
Feel free to say, Kat, if you need to go.
Oh, I definitely will. So far, he's just like laughing at this. I'm actually surprised that he's up. He's like normally like a clock, and like 7 o'clock hits, and he just wants to be asleep. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. He's been teaching, so we'll see. We'll see how the night goes.
That's what I was going to say. Feel free if you need to tend to your son. That's more important than this stream. The stream's just, well, you know. So on Irina, and as usual, girl, you always do a great job with your posts. I commend you for posting every day. You know how much I admire that, you know. I try and follow suit sometimes, but it just fails. So I liked that you covered an anime I've never seen, never heard of. I like that. It always goes on my list to watch. I have no idea if you're still here, Irina. I like that it's all about that this little club is created from like the individuals in the group that have, you know, have some like negative past to do with, if it's like bullying or something tragic has happened, and how it's just a place for them. It's like a refuge, it sounds like to me, from what I got from your post, and all the hardships, particularly focusing on one character, if I'm pronouncing this right, how you say possum is like bossum. So I guess I was nearly going to say bosom, but I'm like, no, nearly. But yeah, so it's Bosom, and he seems to be the one that has the most difficulties from his past in that. He suffers from isolation and such, and being ignored, and he seems to be the beacon of like hope among the group, keeps the positivity together, keeps the group together. And also that I liked one particular bit then towards the end of your post about don't have to make a dramatic change when it comes to starting something, or it could be anything. Starting like, oh, I'm going to go do my art. I keep saying that the last few months. Nothing's happened yet. You don't have to. You don't have to make. You don't have to like to do with like peace and stuff. You don't have to like go. Oh, you don't have to go be violent about it. You know, like protest and crap. And you don't have to make a drastic movement. It's like baby steps. You're just doing baby steps. So killer post, great motto. And what pancake does Irina get now? Well, obviously we've got to have one with some alcohol, obviously, for you. So I'm thinking martini glass with a apple and cinnamon pancakes. They're like another favorite for me, but yeah, sliced apple on top. Drown that pancake in cinnamon, just drown it in is what I usually do, and then some whipped cream on top. So you imagine that martini, an apple and cinnamon pancake. Maybe you can use it as inspiration for a post. I have no idea, but that's the pancake you get. Drunk edition, of course. All right, so moving on, we're going to try and sweep through these because unfortunately my time is very limited now. Okay, so all right, who next is Matt? Yes, Matt from Matt Doyle Media. He talks about desire and necessity, the formation groups in IDWs, which is the company who publishes all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics. As soon as I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was like imagining the old school show. I'll get Naja to start us off with for a going nostalgia tangent.
Cool. Matt Doyle. This is a very dense read.
Yes.
Super dense. Like, I learned the entire history of the TMNT and the Foot Clan. And I'm just like, bruh. But now that I've said that, I read your whole novel. It was wonderful. Hurt my soul, but it was wonderful. The biggest takeaway I got from your post was you talked about the Foot Clan and how they came about as a movement, as an organization. And you talked about the animals. And they came about as an organization based on their past and their discrimination they experienced and how they came together as a collective for that. And my biggest takeaway was the idea of a movement built out of necessity and one that's built around a specific cause. And it was literally towards the end of your post. But your entire post, once I got through all the history bits, and you started actually talking about the differences between the Foot Clan and mutant animals, there was the idea that the mutant animals came about as a movement of necessity because they'd gone through this discrimination, this mistreatment at the hands of people and other individuals, and they had to come together as a group in order to find I'm sorry, my words aren't coming to me, but they had to find some sort of peace and understanding amongst each other. And that's the basis of their movement. They're coming together as a group, as a collective, was more so for support, while you had the Foot Clan that was literally coming together for power and, power. And it's that idea that movements usually come about due to some need that's not being met by a populace, or some evil dictator shows up and is like, my way or the highway, and they start murking people until people start following their ways, and the difference between the two and how substantially they're different. They're the same in that they're both organizations for a specific cause, but the reasoning behind it kind of changes the dialogue on how they act within their society and things like that. And I thought that was a really cool thing to talk about in your wonderfully long post that I read in school. So yeah, Matt D, definitely loved your post. Just, bruh. I've read some of your other posts, like they're all written like that, so this isn't like out of the norm, but I don't even have to read I don't have to read the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles anymore. I know everything I need to know. Thank you. It's like those posts. I don't actually have to watch the anime. I just read your post and I know all I need to know. It's wonderful. But yeah, that's my few cents. There's a chocolate bar in my bag, but my bag is like all the way over there. I'm like, what? I'm sorry. I've been looking at my bag this whole stream, and I know there's chocolate in it. I can't go get it.
Don't get it. Don't keep the chocolate waiting.
It's so off topic, but I've been like staring at this the whole stream. I want it.
Kat, what was your thoughts?
So I would say, first off, I guess my first thing was I did not, like, I'm gonna be honest, my TMNT knowledge really goes to like the 90s and then like the 90s movies, and then that's where my knowledge is. So I was like, man, who knew all this was going on? Crazy. And I guess like my biggest takeaway, I actually like even have just written down here, is just that like even this idea of just like having a place to belong, you know, what it comes down to is for the other like mutants, it's just this idea that they've been like ostracized, and so they need a place to belong, and that's kind of how their group kind of forms. Whereas on the other opposite side, I feel like you could even say it like you know, the bad guys, if you will, the foot syndicate, you know, the way they've even collected their members is just gathering people who didn't really feel like they belonged, but they took that same like idea of, oh, you don't have a place to belong, come join us, but did it for like evil and was like, hey, you didn't have a place to belong, so let's just kill everybody who didn't make you feel like you belonged. Whereas on the flip side, you have these other guys who are like, you didn't have a place to belong, well, let's change it so that way the world is a place for everybody. And those two competing ideologies, I think, always make for a good storyline, because I think they're so realistic to how people relate to things in real life. So that was my takeaway from that.
I'm with the Foot Clan.
All right.
The hardest bar to open.
Let's all ignore Naja eating chocolate.
I'm having the hardest time opening
this. For those that are still here watching our stream, I commend you, because we 2 hours in, we're only on number 5, 6 post. And there's like more than 10. Anyway, okay, I really love that Matt did. Somebody did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I grew up with the 90s. I'm watching the newer ones. I don't care for the newer ones, to be honest. So, like, no, it's not the same. I did like the movies. I did like the movies of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I got vibes. I got nostalgia 90s vibes. I'll say I agree with Naja. It was definitely very, like, the most detailed piece you could possibly read on the history. And I'm like, Kat, I'm like 90s Mutant Ninja Turtles as far as I go. I knew he was going to be covering the Foot Clan. I had an idea that he was going to Shredder. And that it was surrounded on the Foot Clans began from a man named Takashi. And that he was the beginning of the movement. Like, he desired power, and his motto was brutality for power. All about brutality, people. And then he went into the Mighty Mute animals, who were mistreated in that, and that both were on the opposite ends, where I think the Mighty Mute animals were about necessity. The Foot Clan was about desire. I liked learning about both of these. So very, very well detailed post, Matt. You did extremely well. And what shall we do for a pancake? I feel like I should be going green theme, to be honest. But I'm gonna give you a pear and a rhubarb pancake. Now, just fun fact, if you think I'm throwing out these pancakes willy-nilly, I'm not, because I have had some of these. I have experimented some of these, and they are also real pancakes. So apple and rhubarb with some lovely whipped cream is positively lovely. So that is what you get. Rhubarb and pear together is like magic in your mouth. So, all right. Next one. What? It's Naja's got the saying going. It's chocolate magic in your mouth. Next one, which is a hilarious post. I find the title of it because it made me think of the movie, which I haven't seen yet, sitting in my collection.
Yes.
And I've not watched it. It is Eldorado, The Road to Eternal Happiness by Mel in Anime Land. We're finally on you, Mel, if you're still here. I have no idea.
Mel tricked me.
She did trick me, and I'm going to start this one off since it surprised me. Oh wait, no, I usually give the pancake. Oh, it's all right. Okay, Naja, you go first.
Mel, you tricked me. I read your title like 5 times, and I swear every time I thought it's The Road to El Dorado. That's unique. And then I clicked it, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I literally clicked it, I was like, what the hell is this? And I was like, okay, never mind, just stop. So I read it, and I was like, I've never heard of this anime in my life. Not once. Ever. Ever. And I was like, okay, now you've piqued my interest, because now I'm confused, and I really want to know what's going on. But there's this idea that utopia comes at a price. Like, literally, I feel like we should do these like 10 words or less each post. Like, everybody gives 10 words or less on this post. And my 10 words or less is utopia comes at a price. Like, literally. So I was reading these, was like, okay, no clue what this is about. And then I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, it's about utopia. Okay, it's about this perfect world building for her sister. That's cute. I was like, all these Oni-chans building stuff for their little sisters. I'm like, okay, I'm with it. Sounds like Period Cube, and we all know how Period Cube ended. Play the game, you know. Build you a new world, run as fast as you can in the other direction. It's not okay. So I was confused. Then I kept reading, and I was like, oh, he built her a perfect world, and then some corrupt government twisted it. So if I'm getting this correctly, they feed I'm spoiling shit, but they feed people to this monster thing. It's like the Matrix meets like, yeah, it's like the Matrix meets Period Cube. It's exactly what happened. And they feed you to a monster, and you just die. Like, your body becomes like an empty husk. And I was like, holy shit, that sounds like my kind of anime. Why have I never heard of this before? But yeah, biggest takeaway from Mel was, if somebody offers you utopia, just run in the other direction. It's okay.
Run for the hills.
There's always a catch. Always. And the biggest thing was people were willingly giving themselves over to this ideal of peace and prosperity and harmony. And it's like that line from one of the prequels of Star Wars, going back to Matt and everything. This is how democracy dies, through thunderous applause. It's like they sell you something that sounds a little too good to be true, and you eat it up because it's what you need at that point. So definitely a wonderful post, Mel. You tricked me, though. Yeah, probably tricked me. So yeah, like, awesome post. Go on, I'm done. Don't look. Like, you're giving me this look, like you're looking under your glasses at me, and it's like, I don't know whether I should I'm in trouble or what, because Magane Lita.
All right, it's my turn. So like seriously, okay, so a lot of times, surprise, Kat procrastinated on reading everything. So I was like reading everything like 30 minutes more straight. And so I'm like cruising through. So I clicked on Mel, and when I saw El Dorado, I thought of the movie too, which like I had. So I like clicked on it, and I like went to read, and I was like, even before I clicked on it, I was like, I wonder how she's gonna use this as movement. And then like looking at it, and I had to like read because I had just like so many, like I'd already read so much stuff, and I was like kind of tired. So I'm like looking at this, and I'm like, wait, what? Like what is happening? This is the plot of El Dorado. And then I'm like going back, like I felt like there was like a disc where I'm just like, what? And then I was like, this is an anime? Like I've never heard of this anime before. So I've never seen this anime. And I was super confused for like, I'm not even kidding, longer than I care to admit, where I was like, I was like still reading a post on like the cartoon version and was like, when were they killing people? Like, what the heck? So it was not, I blame my mom brain on how that reacted to it. But eventually I realized that I was looking at a completely different show. And my big takeaway was, can you just this idea, the lengths that we will go to for happiness. And I put that in quotes. Can I air quote that? And are these, in this example, like, is this even really, they consider it a utopian society, but is it really be considered a utopian society? And then in that same breath, is there even really such a thing as that? Can you have this idea of this perfect happiness? And I don't think that's, again, Kat puts on her philosophical hat. I personally really doubt the idea that a utopian society is possible. Like I doubt that just on a basis. Because I feel like everybody, I don't know how that can happen, because even if you look at things where you say, well, the utopian societies where everyone has their food and their water and they're all healthy and happy and all this stuff. And yet we have rich people in society who still suffer from unknown securities or anxieties or things like that. So I just like, even the idea of a utopian sets me on edge, and I'm like, I don't trust it. So reading that post was more like, I knew it. Like I knew I didn't trust them. And that's
keep people alive.
Right? Like I was like, vindication. So that's where I was with that post.
Let's see, who's next?
All right. Okay. All right. I'll give my shot. So, Mel, like the others, I thought that it was to do with the world of El Dorado. Honestly, reminded me that I own the series and I haven't even watched it. So maybe I'll do that this weekend. Watch the road to El Dorado. I have heard of Garo Vanishing Line. It's Garo. It's been on my watch list for some time, and I knew it was about a dystopia, and it follows along the same lines as the animes like Shangri-La and Number 6. It follows along those plot lines of the animes. I'm surprised you didn't mention Number 6, Naja, because that is very much about a dystopia universe.
I wrote about that like 3 blog posts ago. Of course I forgot about it. And I freaking love Number 6.
And like, Shangri-La is very similar as well. And I like the story. Sounds interesting to Garo Vanishing Line about a young girl, an orphan girl, looking for her long lost brother. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I knew that it's interesting how she comes to find him, and that that there is no such thing as like eternal happiness in such a dystopia world like that. That the people there, it's like a horror story. Like by the sounds of it, like the whole the whole anime looks so gory and bloody. I like the sound of it. I'm definitely going to watch it, Mel. You convinced me. I like dystopia stories. I find them interesting. I like it when they get gritty and dark. I don't know. Maybe that's just on my evil side. But that eventually that people find their own eternal happiness is what I came with. What I got from your post. So pancake round time. So what possible pancake could I give you? You gave me a very gritty you gave me a deceiving post because it seemed like the road to El Dorado, the city of gold. It's like a city of eternal happiness, and yet I was left with a dystopia of horror and gore. Oh, I'm trying to think. What is a pancake that is deceiving by taste? Which I'm trying to think off the top of my head of something that I've had. One I can remember is when I went to America back in 2004. Yes, I've been to America, people. I want to go back again. I really do. Me and my family are planning it. That I went to the most magical place on earth called the Pancake House. I have never seen so many different sorts of pancakes in my life. And the one that was most deceiving at first was a strawberry pancake. Just a simple strawberry pancake with strawberry sauce. And I thought, oh, it's gonna taste, sweet and just good. When I bit into it, like it was bitter. And like there was all these like little bits of strawberry pieces all throughout. It was like a bitter pancake, and I'm like, I've been deceived. So you get that bitter strawberry pancake. It was still really good though. It was still really good. We went there back a few times. I tried all sorts of pancakes, so I got my pancake ammunition ready to go. I just had to think. There. Hey, I was to say I'm giving the best pancake away yet. I'm giving the best one away yet.
It's mine.
No,
my pancake.
That's why. Rubbish. Okay.
I didn't even write this month, and I want that pancake.
Okay. Okay. The next one
up is Zoe.
Zoe. And she
wrote straight on.
Oh, that didn't see that one coming. No, not write about stray dogs. I knew you were going to write about it, Zoe, dear.
No clue. God, no clue.
I knew she was watching it, and I'm like, yeah, you're going to write about stray dogs. I didn't even look at the spreadsheet.
That's exactly how I choose my album topics. I'm watching an anime, and I'm like, I'm going to write about that one that I'm watching right now. I don't care if it is.
It was the same for me. My first choice. So maybe there's an I in teams. Did you want to start us off, Naja?
Right. So you gotta preface this by saying I have not watched Bungo Stray Dogs or its sequel or anything that has anything to do with it. I want to. It's in my queue on Crunchyroll. It's been there since it started, and I just never watched it. And I'm not going to watch it anytime soon because I'm contractually obligated to watch and Megalobox until the end of the season. Banana Fish next season. So yeah, it's not high on my list. But yeah, I'm contractually obligated to watch. I said in words. So Bungo Stray Dogs, never seen it, probably not gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna forget all the spoilers I got out of her post because I'm gonna wait so long to watch it. But what my big takeaway from her post was that in order for movements to work, there's a give and take. Movements are built on the ideologies of people, so they need people to run. Movements don't just pop out of thin air. They feed off of the energies of the people who are in them. Yeah, see, that's kind of what I got out of this with my cursory knowledge of Bungo Stray Dogs. He also went into a great deal of detail about every person's individual reasons for being in their guild or sect or whatever they're called, mafias. I didn't quite understand because I've never seen it, but yeah, she went into great detail about that. And I was just like, this is like a spoiler parade. Wonderful. God. I was like, I can't watch it now because spoiled. But yeah, lovely, 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 lovely spoiler repost, Zoe. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cat.
So
all right, so
I'm
gonna be honest sauce here. So these next two, Zoe's and Scott's, are shows that I want to watch. So I was like, I went to look into it, and then I was like, nope. Like Scott even gave a warning of like, this is gonna like spoil the show, and I was like, I'm out.
Warning. Oh, he did not. I was like, oh.
So I was
like, oh,
like, I can't even get into this because I am going to watch this show. So I was like, I'm sorry, Zoe, I'll come back to you. Like,
I should have done what you did. I'm sitting here like, I'm already in too deep.
Yep, I scrolled down and saw like the first line. And it was like, ooh, no, like this is going too much into the show. I can already tell. So I will come back to this post as soon as I watch the show because I really do want to watch the show. But seeing how like passionate Zoe was, it made me want to watch it even more because I was like, this must be a really good show. She is like in it. She's right. So I will. So thousands of apologies to Zoe and Scott.
Okay, well, unlike these useless pair, I read through all of it.
I did too.
Okay, no,
I'm over here.
I get that it's okay. I get that people don't want to be spoiled and stuff, and you know, I used to be like that. Now I'm just like, I would like to say a swear word, but it's not appropriate. Stuff it. So it's all about stuff it.
Which swear word? I'll say it for you.
And it's like, you know what? There's probably going to be still some things in the show you're not going to expect. So, Zoe, I loved your post. I liked your Daiso, I believe. Is that his name? What did I write on my notes? I don't even have my notes in front of me. Look at this. I'm so prepared. Daiso. His character sounds very interesting. Like you described that he was complicated or complex. So I liked reading about that. I liked how towards the end of the post also that you went personal about that you can be open now with your anxiety and also the LGBT side of things, which I know I've got to read your post for this June as well. I really want to read that too. I liked that you went individually into each of the characters and talking about the side of the armed detective agency, how they, you know, like they fight crime and that. But a lot of them have a lot of corrupt pasts, and they've all got some corrupt negative pasts they have that have shaped them to how they are. And the message from your post was there is no just I in team. It's all about, well, there is an I in team, but you know, all individually, they worked as a group together is what I got from your post. And also, but they all had their individual goals as well. And I do want to watch Bungo Stray Dogs now because of your post. Because before, I'll be quite honest, I had no interest. I had zero interest. Now I have interest. So well done. Now to guess what a pancake I can give you, girl. I think I'm just gonna have to give you a chocolate chip pancake. I think I'm just gonna have to give you chocolate chip.
Double dipped.
I know, it was like reading a post. I was imagining myself eating some chocolate or something. I was like, oh, this is so good. So you get a nice chocolate chip pancake drizzled.
You wanted to eat some chocolate.
Drizzled with some chocolate. I hope you
chocolate.
And Zoe, don't worry about silly Naja and spoilers and that, and Kat. Just don't worry about them.
Don't worry about that for real. All of my outfits are always spoilers. So you're in good company.
I still never read the post people wrote about
This is you're meant to write your hearts out, guys, in these posts.
Yeah.
I would hate it if you held back. So
yes, don't hold back.
I don't care if there's spoilers in there or there's no spoilers. I mean, I get that people don't want to be spoiled, but I'm just personally like, I'm personally like, stuff it. I'm still reading it. So yes. Oh yes, I'll definitely watch it. I don't doubt that it's a good show. Okay. Here we are next. Oh yes, it is Scott. Scotty boy, are you here? Okay. We're on the survival on the mud whale. Now I'll be surprising. That title was kind of surprising because I had no idea what even that meant. I'm like, ooh, mud, surviving on the mud whale. So I just imagine, it sounds weird. I just imagine this ship.
Mud keeper or something.
And then it's called the mud whale. Oh, I was nearly close when I started reading the post. Nearly. Anyway, so I'll get Naja to stop this up.
So this will be short and sweet because I've never actually seen this. But from what I read, oh yeah, Scott, you are awesome for your short posts. You're consistent. Every blog tour, short, lovely post, and you.
And he likes it because it was short.
My heart. Like every time I see your post, my heart does a little flutter, and it's like, thank you. But you know that's gone. Never seen this, but based on what I read, it sounds an awful lot like Gargantia, which Carla wrote about 2 posts after you. So they kind of seem like they have a similar premise. Human beings living on this giant ship thingy in the middle of an ocean or mud or water or the world, you know, stuff. And they broke off from normal society due to some kind of disagreement, social unrest, and something of that nature. But the biggest takeaway from Scott's post that I really liked was societies keep people together. That the idea that a society isn't so much a construct to control, but more an ideal that keeps people connected. You're connected with your communities, with your people, your neighbors, things like that, and that more positive spin on societies, because everybody else has been like, yeah, societies are evil. Dystopian societies are trying to kill us with monsters called horrors and things like that. But this was a bit more optimistic on social constructs and how it applies to people and their ideals. So, Scott, good job there. Wonderful. How was that, Lita? That was short enough for you?
No, five words. That's all you need. All right. Kitty cat.
It was very awesome.
Doc and Zoe were the ones that I had to abstain from. Sorry, guys. They looked good, but I want to see these shows.
We're talking about it like it's a cake. Like it's a cake. That cake looks so good, but I'm on a diet, so I can't eat that right now. That's what
I couldn't do it. I've been like literally waiting to watch these two. So I saw them and I was just like, no. This was like when offshoot story, but when the first new Star Wars movie came out, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen this, I abstained from everything. So that way this movie would not be ruined for me. And it's Christmas Day. I'm talking with my brother and the rest of the family, and I had said no, I haven't been on anything because I don't want this show to be spoiled. And he's like, yeah, you better not go on it because it's been terrible. And he's like, people are just dropping spoilers all over the place. And I was like, I know, like I don't want to see that. And he's like, yeah, man. The other day I was on there and they were like, you know, what did they say? Oh my God, I'm blanking Harrison Ford's character, and now I can't even think of the name of his name right now. Han Solo. He's like, and they said Solo died, and I was like, son of a expletive.
Oh my God, Kat. Oh my God, Kat.
And my brother was just
Kat,
like,
friends.
I know, and my brother was
just gonna break down the house.
Right, and my brother was just like, oh wait, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I have avoided everything, and you come at me in my own. This was in my house, people. It was in my house.
The biggest whole thing on thing.
Eating my Christmas dinner, and he throws that bombshell.
Out. Get out of my house.
Out.
Get out of my house.
I was like ruined. So I'm like super like, no, I'm not gonna have this spoiled for me.
No, get out of my house.
I will come back for this later. I promise. I promise. I will be back for you two later.
I make no promises. I never promise things I don't know I'm not going to do.
All right. All right, survival on the mud whale. It's a very deceiving title because I was thinking mud whale, Scott. I I have had a curiosity about Children of Wales for quite some time since I looked at it on Netflix. I read your post, unlike someone. I kind of got the gist of kind of what it was about when you started going into like the first paragraph, and that as soon as you said that they were disconnected from the outside world, I'm like, oh, I would hate to be in a society like that where they're disconnected from the outside world and you're living by solely just like the main group of people I got that the children follow or the people follow in the anime is a group of elders who sit their fat asses at a table and just rule from there. You did say that there were elders run the council of elders or leaders, because they're all old, I'm assuming, that run the society. And you know, it does sound like a good show, talking about, you know, it's good, you know, of course, good that there's an introduction to the, now we have broken through the outside world. They have come in contact with, looks like another ship. I have no idea who is on that ship. But yeah, what Naja said, the message that society keeps you together, you know, it's good to have rules and stuff, but you don't always have to stay in line with them. You can break them. Kind of reminded me when I was reading your post, you reminded me of a show I'm watching right now called The 100. How these 100 criminals, well, they're not really criminals, they barely committed any criminal acts, but these 100 kids are sent down to Earth, and they're sent there to find out if the Earth is habitable because mankind is up in space. And it just reminded me of that series right now. You should watch The 100, by the way. It's so like addictive. So probably the moment Scott has been waiting for, probably, is what pancake I'm going to give this time. It seems you're all in anticipation, just waiting for you to give what treat you're all going to get for such your hard work, for all your posts. So I'm going to give you a pancake that I know somebody that has tried, and I really want to try because they said it was. So, it's a bubble gum. It's a bubble gum ice cream pancake, and yes.
You and your bubblegum crap. Where's that bubblegum popcorn? I remember that.
Where do you get these things from?
I'm never forgetting that. The bubblegum popcorn I thought was a lie. It's not.
It is. It's real. Bubblegum popcorn is not a lie. It is very real.
Apparently not. I Googled that stuff. And I was like, this is real. Okay.
I won't believe it till I taste it. I need it on my taste buds.
I'll have to send you some then. Just give me your address and I'll send you some UK edition.
Yeah, what's a bubblegum popcorn? Where's my bubblegum popcorn?
Bubblegum ice cream. It doesn't. All it is just ordinary pancakes with just drowned in bubblegum ice cream. When my friend sent me a picture of it, I'm like, oh man, does this exist? Apparently it does. So that's what you get, Scott. Hopefully you like bubblegum, crazy bubblegum. And I have to, unfortunately, sadly, announce we're halfway through the live stream and I have to leave you all.
I'm actually gonna say I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 because I have to head out. I was gonna say I'm gonna have to bow out too. I thought Mr. Ember would go back to sleep, but now he's up again, so I have to bounce him.
Yes, unfortunately, I have.
Right.
So I think we need to do a part 2, starting with Karandi's on Bleach.
Yep.
Yes, we do. I'll have to put a part 1. I have to change the title now. God damn it. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll probably be sitting here for the next 3 hours. As much as I would love to sit here for the next 3 hours, time zones not always on our side. You think, oh yeah, Lita's got the whole day. I'm like, yeah, I've got a whole day, and I've still got stuff to do. So, okay,
I'm gonna play until Megan. So
you can tell we're so good at procrastination. But yes, you can understand. Kat is a mother. She has a baby.
what the most cutest
So-
little thing ever.
I'm surprised you didn't say you didn't say something earlier, Kat, because you must be so tired right now.
Yeah, like at first I was like, oh, this will be good because he'd kind of fallen back asleep in my arms, and then he like started to wake back up, and I was like, I think it's my voice. He can hear me talking, and he's just like, why aren't you sleeping?
Mom.
Now he's
Aw,
laughing.
you
guys
can hear
hear
him
him?
laughing. Oh, that's so cute. Hello. Hi.
Yeah. So
Aw.
now he's like, no, I need to be so quiet, I guess. Yeah.
All right.
Little.
Back to sleep.
Well, unfortunately, folks, this is going to have to be the end of part 1.
Part
then-
1.
I don't know when part 2 is going to occur. We just cannot fit it all in. There's no way. Thinking we
Part 2
were.
will probably happen with
It probably. Maybe we'll have it at the end of the month. Hopefully, if we can. If we can work it out, or it might be a weekday, or probably not a weekday. Probably it'll be a weekend. Probably.
If it's a weekday, it would have to be after I got off work, finished my commute, like today. Thought about my life.
I'm sure I'll fit it in. But look, I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of our May tour. This is probably the longest tour we've ever had with so many posts. That's why usually we can stream through them, but it's it's usually Naja and Kat's fault. They have too much to say.
Because they can really hit every single day. And before we didn't have this many numbers.
That I'm reading and responding to these posts. I'm sorry that I care enough to read. I may not comment, but I surely read your posts.
Yeah,
I'm like, man,
I mean,
writers.
here's Naja's
leaving
defense
comments.
mode.
I'm not gonna lie there. I definitely don't leave comments. I'm good for that, but I read them. But,
I fail. I think we all fail at commenting on some of you guys' posts.
Yeah,
I have read them all. It feels so much better talking about it this way. I can't really describe how it.
I did want to bring that up. Owls fam, there's like 39 of us, but some of these posts literally only had 4 likes and 2 comments, and I feel some type of way about it. I know I'm terrible about commenting. I'm on hiatus. Might do it.
She's been on hiatus.
Some of these posts literally only have 1 or 2 likes or comments on there. And Owls fam, we need to be out in mass. We need to be out there supporting one another in our posts. Even if it's a few word thing, awesome post. That's all you gotta say.
Naja, you're getting the dog and cat excited.
Like, no, I was going through and I was like, wait, this one has like 50 likes. This one has like 2. And this is like a really great post. It only 4 people have liked. I'm sure the views are higher.
I'm out of this. This is all Naja. Don't look at me, your cat. This is all Naja.
But still, no. Definitely, Owls fam, we should be out there supporting one another, liking, commenting, sharing our posts, spreading our message of, acceptance, liberty, and self-respect.
Okay, we'll address we'll address this after.
That's it. I'm off my soapbox.
She is. She's very tired and thinks it's the chocolate. It's the chocolate talking.
Dude, I'm gonna get food right after that. No, I'm gonna watch Voltron until tomorrow. I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming for part 1 of our May blog tour. We will have part 2 at some point. Just follow the Twitter. That's where we update all the time. And yeah, just keep it short and sweet. Baby. Beautiful baby Amber in the background.
I don't know why.
Excited.
Naja's voice. Stop laughing. Like he's
So cute.
I love it.
All right.
Wait,
Well,
my voice?
he keeps just laughing.
Making him laugh. I'm all the way here
any of the potions. I mean, any of the posts that we've mentioned will be linked. I will link them down below later on. I will when I got a minute. And and if you want to follow us on our Twitter or Facebook or blog, all the links are down below. I don't really have to repeat myself. And yeah, we are all out. We'll see you guys later. Bye. The pancake tour will continue. Bye.
Bye.